We can see typical Victorian concerns in J.S. Mill's On Liberty. But to understand these Victorian concerns, it is important to place the British Empire in context in the Victorian Age. The Victorian Age is the period when England became the power that ruled the world. It became an empire. In 1815, multiple countries like Australia, Canada, and India, among others, were controlled by England as they exported to those countries and had their factories in England, so it became an economical issue. We can see his beliefs regarding individuality versus collectivism in a society which, due to the Industrial Revolution, treated humans as tools, whose only purpose was to increase the economical profit of selected people. Furthermore, Mill also talks about religion, especially Calvinism, elitism, colonization, or progress. In fact, the author claims that the state is made of individuals who are the true engines of change and progress. Apart from that, he believed that impulses and desires are not bad by themselves if they are properly balanced and well used. In addition, Mill also stated that the freedom of individuality and originality makes us human. Therefore, he saw eccentricity as a symbol of wealth. Human nature is not a machine to be built after a model and set to do exactly the work prescribed for it, but a tree, which requires to grow and develop itself on all sides. Mill claims that Calvinism, which is a religious doctrine with a negative vision that defends that human beings are sinners, and it is through the destruction of desires and impulses that we can find enlightenment, kills freedom, individuality, and progress. As the human spirit is part of our identity. Even if he was agnostic, he mentions that it is wrong to think that God is a punisher. He believed that if so, we were created by a good God, and he believed that we had talent that could not flourish due to Calvinism. In fact, Mill believes that the political sphere as well as religion wanted to kill our liberty by breaking the human spirit. It is so, on the Calvinistic theory. According to that, the one great offense of man is self-will. All the good of which humanity is capable is comprised in obedience. You have no choice, thus you must do, and no otherwise. Whatever is not a duty is a sin. Human nature being radically corrupt, there is no redemption for anyone until human nature is killed within him. To one holding this theory of life, crushing out any of the human faculties, capacities, and susceptibilities is no evil. Man needs no capacity, but that of surrendering himself to the will of God. And if he uses any of his faculties for any other purpose but to do that supposed will more effectually, he is better without them. This is the theory of Calvinism, and it is held, in a mitigated form, by many who do not consider themselves Calvinists. The mitigation consisting in giving a less ascetic interpretation to the alleged will of God, asserting it to be his will that mankind should gratify some of their inclinations, of course not in the manner they themselves prefer, but in the way of obedience, that is, in a way prescribed to them by authority, and, therefore, by the necessary condition of the case, the same for all. 58. Furthermore, I believe that Mill was elitist, as he believed that we should not follow the mediocre class's way of thinking but should let geniuses rule. This reminds me of the Platonic dictatorship, as Plato believed that only the best men should rule society. Mill also talks about the tyranny and mediocrity of the middle class, which he believes to be corrupted by the press. Although he stated that we should not promote only geniuses, but that we should respect the natural order, as the ones that know most should help others by leading them into the good path. Persons of genius, it is true, are, and are always likely to be, a small minority, but in order to have them, it is necessary to preserve the soil in which they grow. Genius can only breathe freely in an atmosphere of freedom. Persons of genius are, ex six termini, more individual than any other people, less capable, consequently, of fitting themselves, without hurtful compression, into any of the small number of molds which society provides in order to save its members the trouble of forming their own character. 60. Regarding colonization, which was one of the main symbols of the British Empire, by the 1920s they had already conquered many countries in Africa, apart from India, Australia, and Canada, among others. Mill talks about the East as an example of stagnation, as it has remained equal for centuries. The greater part of the world has, properly speaking, no history, because the despotism of custom is complete. This is the case over the whole East. Custom is there, in all things. 65. He believed that only foreigners could help immutable countries to evolve and improve, and he also believed in the power of mutability to justify the need for colonialism. It is important to remind that he was the director of a trading company in the East. Therefore, Mill was a utilitarian, as he believed that actions are right as long as they are beneficial for the majority. Regarding the use of energy, Mill believed that we should use it to improve society as well as be energetic, mutable, not static as in the case of the countries from the East. Energy may be turned to bad uses, but more good may always be made of an energetic nature than of an indolent and impassive one. Finally, Mill believed that originality, progress, energy, individuality, and earnestness were vital for improving society. We can see that his influence has lasted till nowadays. As a matter of fact, capitalism is a system that defends some of its ideas, such as the free market. Progress has become a key notion in politics. It is related to innovation and social issues. Steve Jobs resembled Mill's ideas in a speech he gave to university students, as he talks about progress, freedom of individuality, and the need to follow one's heart. We can see that his ideas have established the way of thinking nowadays. Finally, he was also against the control of the state, as he believed that each individual should have their own regulations.